Number 10. True crime and mysteries. You know exactly who you are. You are the person who cannot fall asleep unless a podcast host is describing a high-stakes investigation in high-definition detail. It is one of the weirdest paradoxes of modern life. We spend thousands of dollars on home security systems to keep the bad guys out. But then we willingly invite the stories of the worst villains in history into our bedrooms through our headphones. Think about how insane that is. If you walked into a bar and started talking about forensic evidence, people would call security. But put it on a streaming service and it is a cozy Friday night in. Psychologists actually have a name for this. It is called vicarious conditioning. Basically, your brain is a survival machine. It wants to know how the predator thinks so you do not end up as a statistic. It is a rehearsal. You are sitting on your couch, eating popcorn, while your brain is running a simulation on how to outsmart a guy named the Night Watcher. But there is a darker layer here. We are drawn to it because it makes us feel superior. We look at these villains and think, well, at least I didn't turn my neighbor into a snack today. It is a low bar for self-esteem, but hey, we take what we can get. We also love the puzzle. We want to solve the case before the authorities do, mostly because we all secretly believe we are smarter than the entire Bureau of Investigation. Number 9. Popping procedures and gross stuff. Do not pretend you are above this. We have all been there. You are scrolling through your phone and you see a video of a dermatologist squeezing something the size of a golf ball out of someone's back. You should be horrified. You should be scrolling away, but instead you watch the whole thing. And then you watch another one. Why on earth are we attracted to the messy stuff? It goes against every survival instinct we have. Evolution taught us to avoid biological confetti because that usually means a health hazard. But here you are, treating it like it is the Super Bowl. This is what experts call benign masochism. It is the same reason you eat spicy wings that make you cry, or why you ride roller coasters that make you think you're going to fly off the tracks. Your body sends a signal that says, warning, gross. But your brain knows you are safe behind a screen. When the danger passes, you get a rush of dopamine. It is relief. There is also a primal grooming instinct here. Back when we were primates picking bugs off each other, removing a hazard was a sign of love. It bonded the tribe. So watching these videos is basically just your inner ape trying to be social. It is deeply satisfying to see the bad stuff get removed. It is a purification ritual for people who are too lazy to actually clean their house. Number 8. Liminal spaces. Have you ever been in a school hallway at night during the summer? Or an empty big box store that is closing down? Or a hospital waiting room at 3 a.m.? It feels wrong. The air feels heavy. The silence is loud. You feel like you have clipped out of reality and are stuck in a loading screen for the universe. These are called liminal spaces. The word liminal comes from the Latin word for threshold. It is a transition point. You are between here and there. And for some reason, the internet is obsessed with them. We stare at photos of empty, yellow-tinted hallways and feel a mix of comfort and absolute dread. It attracts us because it breaks the pattern. We are used to these places being full of noise and chaos. A mall is supposed to be full of screaming kids and perfume salesmen. When you take the people away, the building looks like a mannequin. It is a shell without a soul. We are drawn to this because it triggers a sense of Uncanny Valley for architecture. It looks familiar, but it is just slightly off. It feels like a dream you had when you were 6 years old. It forces you to confront the fact that the world exists without you. It is a gentle reminder of how small we are. These spaces are peaceful, sure, but it is the peace of a ghost town. Number 7. Sad songs and tearjerkers. Let's be real. When you are going through a breakup, or you just failed a math test, or you looked at your bank account, what do? Do you listen to happy, upbeat pop music? No. You put on the saddest, gloomiest playlist you can find. You sit in the dark and marinate in your own feelings. Why do we double down on the blues? It seems counterproductive. If you are down, you should want to be up. But humans are drawn to tragedy like a moth to a porch light. This is the paradox of tragedy. Aristotle talked about this thousands of years ago. He called it catharsis. Think of your emotions like a clogged pipe. If you ignore the sadness, the pipe bursts, and you have an emotional system crash in the middle of a Wendy's. If you listen to a sad song, you open the valve. You let the pressure out in a controlled way. It also makes us feel connected. When you hear a singer wailing about a broken heart, you realize you are not the only person on the planet who had a bad week. It validates your pain. It transforms your struggle into something beautiful. It is basically emotional alchemy. We love tragedy because it proves we are not robots. We hurt, therefore we are. Number 6. The Uncanny Valley. Imagine you are looking at a robot. If it looks like a toaster, like R2-D2, you think it is cute. If it looks perfectly human, you treat it like a person. But there is a zone in the middle. A zone where it looks almost human, but not quite. The skin is too smooth. The eyes do not blink enough. The movement is jerky. Suddenly, you are not charmed. You are spooked. You want to run away. This is the Uncanny Valley. We are fascinated by this. We keep building androids and making CGI movies that look strange. Why? Because we are obsessed with replicating ourselves, even if we are bad at it. Evolutionary biologists think this fear is actually a biological warning system. It is designed to keep us away from things that aren't quite right. If someone looks human but is pale, cold, and not moving correctly, your primitive brain screams, "Stay away." That is a biological error. You might catch a bug. But in the modern world, we seek this out. We stare at those AI-generated faces that are slightly warped. We watch movies with bad CGI just to feel that crawl on our skin. We are testing our reality detection software. We want to see if we can still tell the difference between a soul and a simulation. Number 5. Dangerous animals. If you see a grizzly bear in the woods, your rational brain knows that it is an 800-pound apex predator. It can run 35 miles per hour. It can turn you into a headline with one swipe. But your irrational brain goes, "Look at the ears. It is so fluffy. I want to hug it." Humans have an illogical attraction to dangerous creatures. We see a tiger, and we think, "Big kitty." We see a wolf, and we think, "Puppy." This is the reason why tourists in national parks keep getting tossed into the air by bison. They try to take a selfie with a tank made of muscle and horns. This is sometimes called cute aggression, but on a high-stakes scale. We are drawn to these animals because they represent raw power. In our boring, air-conditioned lives where our biggest threat is a slow Wi-Fi connection, these animals represent something ancient and real. They are nature, untamed. We also have a cartoony view of the world. We think if we are nice to the bear will be nice to us. Spoiler alert. The bear does not care about your good vibes. The bear cares about calories. And you're about 150 pounds of slow-moving protein. But still, the urge to pet the forbidden fluff is strong. Number 4. Rubbernecking at accidents. You are driving down the highway. Traffic slows to a crawl. You think there must be a massive jam ahead. You wait for 20 minutes, inching forward. Finally, you get to the front, and you realize the incident is on the other side of the highway. The lane on your side is perfectly clear. The only reason there is traffic is because every single driver in front of you slowed down to stare. And then, when it is your turn, what do? You look. You cannot help it. You stare at the flashing lights. This is rubbernecking. And while it makes us all annoying drivers, there is a reason for it. It is information gathering. We are hardwired to pay attention to threats. Your brain says, "Something went wrong here. I need to see what it is so I do not make the same mistake." It is a safety check. But there is also a "there but for the grace of luck go I" element. You look at the scene to confirm that you are still okay. It is a momentary reminder of how fragile things are in the middle of your commute to a job you hate. It shakes you out of autopilot. For a split second, reality becomes more interesting than the radio. Number 3. Abandoned buildings and ruins. If I told you there was a crumbling building filled with rust, dust, and maybe a ghost or two, you should want to stay far away. But if I tell you it is an abandoned hospital from the 1920s, half of you are already grabbing your flashlights. Ruin photography is a massive trend. We love seeing our civilization decay. We love seeing vines growing over sports cars. We love seeing shopping malls flooded with water. Why? Because it is a sneak peek at a world without us. We are all secretly obsessed with the after. We wonder what the Earth would look like if humans just packed up and left. These places give us that answer. It is nature taking back what we borrowed. There is a romantic quality to it. It reminds us that everything we build is temporary. That skyscraper downtown? One day it will be a pile of rust. That expensive car you're making payments on? One day it will be a nest for raccoons. It is humbling. It takes the pressure off. If even the mightiest buildings eventually fade, then maybe it does not matter that you forgot to send that email today. Number 2. Chaotic relationships and the bad boy. This is the classic cliche. The nice person finishes last. The person who is stable, pays their taxes, and remembers your birthday is boring. But the person who drives a motorcycle, has a questionable employment history, and treats you like an option rather than a priority. That is magnetic. We are drawn to red flags like a bull is drawn to a cape. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we chase people who are clearly bad for our peace of mind? Evolutionary psychologists have a wild theory about this. It is called the rebellious gene theory. Basically, some part of our primal brain thinks, if this guy is a rule breaker and a risk taker, and he is still standing, he must have amazing genetics. We subconsciously want those resilient genes for the future, so our lineage can survive in a tough world. There is also the fixer complex. We think we can be the one to tame the storm. We think, he is tough on everyone else, but he will be sweet to me. It is the ultimate ego trip. If you can turn the wild card into a house cat, you win the game. Of course, in reality, you usually just end up with a headache and a lower credit score. Number 1. The call of the void. This is the big one. The king of creepy attractions. Imagine you are standing on the edge of a high cliff, or a rooftop. You look down at the drop. It is 1,000 feet straight down. You know that if you fall, it is game over. But then, a tiny, quiet voice in the back of your head whispers, "Jump." You do not want to take the plunge. You are happy to be here, but your hands sweat. Your heart races. You feel a physical pull toward the edge. You have to step back and grab the railing just to make sure you do not actually do it. The French call this l'appel du vide, the call of the void. It is terrifying because it makes you feel like you cannot trust your own brain. It feels like a glitch in your survival software. But scientists say this is actually a good sign. It is a miscommunication in your brain's safety center. Your fear system screams, "Drop, danger, back up," so fast that your conscious brain gets confused. Your conscious brain thinks, "Why am I thinking about jumping?" When really, your brain was just checking to see if jumping was an option, so it could rule it out immediately. It is a high-stakes simulation. It is your brain running a what-if scenario with the worst possible outcome. We are drawn to high places and edges because we need to feel that resistance. We need to feel the urge to go so we can choose not to. It is the ultimate affirmation of being here. You look the drop in the face, you feel the pull, and you say, "Not today." But seriously, stay away from the edge. Gravity always wins.